Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today we are going to be talking about juvenile justice with representatives from the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. We have CEO Joey Orduna Hastings and one of their members of the board, our own Judge Egan Walker. That's next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
40 years ago, Hotel California and the theme from Rocky were #1 on the pop charts, and D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal started on the road to becoming Nevada's leading roofing company.
I couldn't be more proud of what we've achieved.
And over these 40 years, we've become an employee-owned company. So when you're talking to any employee, you're talking to an owner.
And here's to the next 40 years.
Happy 40th birthday, D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Nearly 200,000 Nevadans work in retail businesses, supporting families and the community. Nevada's retail businesses generated over $2 billion in sales tax revenue in 1 year, including nearly $700 million to help our schools. Shop around and see all that Nevada's retailers offer our state.
We're the Retail Association of Nevada, representing thousands of Nevada businesses.
Businesses that work for Nevada.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. Very pleased to have with us today two representatives from the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. We have Joey Orduna Hastings, who is the CEO of the organization, and one of the board of directors, Judge Egan Walker, who is right here in the biggest little city. Welcome and thank you very much. Joey, can you tell us about your organization and your role in it?
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul, for taking the time and giving us the opportunity to share the work of the National Council. The National Council is located right here in Reno, Nevada. It's an 81-year-old judicial membership organization.
Has it always been here in Reno?
It hasn't. It did start in Chicago. We came to Reno in 1969 and a proud affiliate of the University of Nevada, Reno.
And part of the National Judicial College?
That is a collaborative partner. So one of the great things that we've done in the last year is actually launch the Judicial Epicenter for Judicial Education with the Judicial College and the University of Nevada, Reno, and that is just an evolution of continued collaboration over many years. We're very proud to say that the National Council, the Judicial College, and the University of Nevada, Reno, we actually train more judges in Northern Nevada than probably anywhere in the country, maybe even internationally. And the Council, in its 81 years, has served over 30,000 professionals that work in the juvenile and family courts, really trying to respond and address the needs of our most vulnerable children, families, and victims of crime and domestic violence. The National Council offers not only judicial education and training, but also teaching the judges and other court professionals on the science. What does it mean to understand child development, responsiveness to opioid addiction, substance abuse issues, and exposure to violence? The Council also offers a research component. We have another office in Pittsburgh. Our main office is here in Reno, but our Pittsburgh office has trained researchers that provide empirical and evidence-based research to help support the work of the juvenile and family courts to make sure that they're the most effective entities in response to the complex needs of families.
Well, and I mean, they are complex and challenging. I mean, Judge, you're seeing this every day. So, is there a difference? You've been doing this for, we talked before, 11 years. Are you seeing different challenges today than when you first started, or is the magnitude less, greater than it was?
I think the magnitude is probably the same. Our appreciation for the depth of the problem, however, is what's changing. For example, I had a young girl in my court just yesterday who we had previously recovered as a victim of sex trafficking in New York last year. She ran again from our jurisdiction and was recovered last weekend in Hollywood, California. Promptly thereafter ran in Hollywood before we could get her back to Nevada. So our appreciation for the depth of the problem, particularly related to human trafficking, is what changed.
Well, I mean, that's, an issue that, in my paying job, we get very involved in Nevada Trucking Association because, our folks are in a position to see some of this stuff happening. Unfortunately, it happens in truck stops. It happens where you have a lot of transiency. So do we see more of that in Nevada than we do in other places in the country?
I think on a per capita basis, we see more in Nevada, yes, because we have major arteries and arterials for trucking, for example, that go through the state. We also have major destination locations like Tahoe, Reno, and to a much larger degree, Las Vegas. But really, it's more about understanding the problem. The way I describe the real benefits of the council to me as a judge is this. I have 18 going on 20 years of higher education. In all of those higher years of education, I received exactly 0 hours in training on human trafficking, or 0 hours in training on child welfare and child abuse cases, or 0 hours in training on child delinquency cases. The place I got all of that training is the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. And it's great because it's right here in Reno. I can literally walk a few blocks to the offices from the courthouse.
I mean, that is a beautiful thing. So, I mean, Joey, I guess you're looking at, different issues that are going on as well and trying to develop some programs.
Yes.
We talked about opioid addiction. Are we seeing that as, a much bigger problem today than we did 10 years ago? I mean, I know we're hearing about it in the news.
Right. Absolutely, we are. And we're seeing it impacting not only the adults that come into our court system, but the children that come into the court system. We work with a judge, our past president actually, who attends the funerals of every child who's died on his docket because the opioid addiction issues have impacted his community so greatly. We just recently held a task force meeting of judges on how to respond to the opioid addiction issues because, as Judge Walker said, the issues are so complex that what's presented to you in court may not be what you think it is until you peel back the multiple layers of the complexity. And so the opioid issue is exactly that. How are they getting the pills? What is the family dynamic? What are the other issues that may be presented that the court isn't even aware of?
That's something that we've done a good job, in terms of a drug court, having a place for, adults to go. So, we don't put them into a system that isn't going to get them help. So are we doing something similar to that with our juvenile system?
We are. In fact, there is a Juvenile Justice Oversight Commission here in Nevada that Joey and I, ironically enough, co-chair. And one of the great things that the council provides to the JJOC here in Nevada is an evidence-based Center for Juvenile Justice and Innovation. So a place to have a clearinghouse so that Judge Walker in Reno or Judge Montero in Winnemucca or Judge Voy in Clark County have a place to go here in Nevada for a codex or an index or a resource center for things that work with kids. Working with kids is really counterintuitive. What you think may work is actually what doesn't work.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them, I know.
and so you understand, just as a parent, the many paradoxes that are involved in doing what works for kids. You always have to think of what's the right thing for the right kid at the right time. And the way to figure that out is through the research of the council and the teaching that I received there as a judge.
All right, we are having a conversation on juvenile justice with Judge Egan Walker and Joey Orduna Hastings with the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. Did I get that right?
You did, thank you.
It's a lot of words. We're going to be right back with them on Nevada Newsmakers.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully's Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia. Yeah.
How do you shed some light on a better economy? Start with growth inspired by Valley Electric Association. We're a member-owned power company that puts Nevada first, and we're doing big things, like providing prosperity by securing renewable energy projects. For Nevada, that means more jobs and more opportunities, all for a strong statewide economy. In other words, together, we're doing powerful things. Visit us at vea.coop to learn more.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are continuing our conversation on the juvenile justice system with Joy Orduna Hastings, CEO of the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, and one of their board of directors, Judge Egan Walker, who's here with the second Judicial.
That's correct. Here in Washoe
District
County.
Court in Washoe County.
Yep.
So, you know, it's interesting because I grew up in rural Nevada, you know, in the 80s, 90s, and hey, kids get in a fight after school, cops weren't called, they weren't going to court. You know, I get a different story from my friends who have those kids that, you know, end up in those fights today. Luckily not my kids, at least not yet, hopefully never. And, you know, they're put into the court system. Does that put a strain on the resources of the court, or how are those kids handled, you know, differently from somebody who may be, you know, a victim of human trafficking or opioid abuser?
Well, one of the reasons we need the council is to educate judges about which kids need which services. The truism about child rearing and about children is actually overwhelmingly for most kids, if you do nothing, kids grow up. Their brains develop. Once their brains develop and their prefrontal cortex cooks, if you will, at about 25 years of age, those kids are pro-social and don't need interventions. The real
so many of the problems I think with those are the parents getting involved, you know, trying to solve their kids' issues.
That's correct. That's correct. The real challenge is to find the kids who have the most challenging risks and needs, and then to provide the right services to those kids.
What are those risks? So I mean, who, you know, is it different socioeconomic level? Is it, you know, maybe a family that isn't intact or the parents aren't there? I mean, are those the majority of the kids that we're looking at that have those risk factors?
Prenatal drug exposure, unaddressed mental health needs, physical or psychological developmental issues, so kids who are developing at a different rate. Those are the you know, general risk factors. Child delinquency, kids committing acts that would otherwise be crimes, cuts across all socioeconomic boundaries. Poor kids aren't more likely to commit crimes than rich kids are more likely to commit crimes. The complicator is that poor kids have fewer resources and fewer services, and actually that's why if you apply the right resources to the right kid at the right time, you can divert the overwhelming majority of kids out of the system proper. The difficulty is that I have a sentencing calendar every Wednesday as a district court judge. 65% of the people I send to prison are former foster kids, and it's trying to prevent that foster care to prison pipeline or delinquency to prison pipeline, again, by finding the right kids who need the right.
That's absolutely heartbreaking to think about that. I mean, we have we have a system that, you know, we set up. I mean, it's not the, you know, Spencer Tracy or was it Bing Crosby, you know, Boys Town, you know, where, you know, Father Flanagan, is that right?
Correct.
You know, who took care of was that Bing Crosby? Spencer Tracy, one of them.
I think it was Bing.
Bing, who, you know, we had a system to take care of kids and, you know, give them those tools. But I mean, it seems like it's a lot more scattered today than it used to be.
Well, I think we always have to be careful about talking too much in generalities. So there is a very robust system of intervention for juvenile delinquents in the state of Nevada, and it's an evidence-based system. The challenges are, as our population increases, the number of kids who need services increase, and we have, relatively speaking, a dearth of mental health services in the state of Nevada. But again, to bring it back to the council, imagine yourself the judge deciding what's going to happen with little Johnny, who's allegedly committed an armed robbery at school, which is a fairly common occurrence, at least among kids who are going to commit delinquent acts.
An armed robbery at school?
I don't mean to imply that it happens frequently at every school, but as to those issues that are difficult for a judge to handle. So you're the judge, you're going to decide what's going to happen with little Johnny. Well, I can give you evidence through the National Council that says that if I engage in punitive sanctions against little Johnny, send little Johnny away from his home and school of origin, and remove him from his community, I can almost guarantee that I'm going to send him to prison about 10 years later. Whereas if I give the right interventions to that child and his family, and the right services in his home or his community of origin, I can change the trajectory of his life so that he's not one of those kids that I'm sending to prison every Wednesday.
So Joey, in terms of the research that your folks are doing, and I guess you're looking at those issues and trying to develop the best programs to make sure that you're not going to see a kid in the juvenile system who's in the juvenile system come back again when he's an adult.
Right. So to that point, one of the principles of the National Council is judicial engagement and leadership. So to complement what Judge Walker was saying, judges need to spend time in their communities. They need to be able to garner community response and identification of services. That's what our research is showing, that judges need to also be off the bench and demonstrate leadership, and then we need to evaluate those programs to make sure that they're working.
I mean, it's interesting because a lot of folks that I know who are judges, and maybe this is just my perception too, it's kind of like a sequestered thing. You want to be very careful about what you say or what you don't say, and definitely, right, as a judge, you kind of have to almost step back a little bit. So, I mean,
traditional model is just give me the facts and let me make a decision.
So does that create a challenge with that community involvement?
It is a unique issue that we have to address in all the states that we work in. And so Nevada's judicial ethics requirements are different than that of California or Texas or New York or New Jersey. And so that's where the council comes in and tailors our support and our research to the state-specific needs. Although we are a Nevada-based nonprofit with a national impact, we have to be mindful that not every state is the same. And so that's where we tailor our research and our work to make sure that the best practices that we have our researchers have determined to be the blueprint, if you will, for how to handle a child abuse and neglect case or a juvenile justice case are still the principles in all those states. We have to tailor the work to make sure that we support the judges to make sure that they do not fall out of compliance with the ethics rules in their states.
All right, we are going to continue our conversation on juvenile justice next on Nevada Newsmakers.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. And a lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We are continuing our final segment talking about juvenile justice. Joey Orduna Hastings, Judge Egan Walker with the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. Finally, I think I got it right without stumbling. So, okay, Joey, one of your jobs, in the council is to, develop these guidelines.
Correct.
So you just did it again. What's changed, and what are some of those different issues you're looking at today in putting those guidelines together?
So one of the offerings that the council has to the judges and the many court professionals that we serve is that not only do we do education, training, and policy and training, we also produce publications, and we produce evidence-based products that judges and others can use in their state so they're not reinventing the wheel. And one of those publications that we just re-released in January of 2019 after a decade is our Juvenile Justice Guidelines. Originally called the Juvenile Delinquency Guidelines, it was developed so that judges could best respond to juvenile delinquency cases. And as these cases have become more complex, our knowledge and education and terminology has evolved, we've been able to pull together a task force again of practice-based judges and others to develop the Juvenile Justice Guidelines. And so they're more reflective of issues related to—
So you got rid of the word delinquent.
Correct, correct. And evolved our language around the specific needs of kids today. So the influences of gender identity issues, LGBTQ issues, fines and fees, and the use of those in court as punitive or discretionary tools, issues of community engagement, technology.
I was going to say, social media, that's the thing that I just want to maybe I shouldn't say this to a judge, but I do want to kind of slap my kids, every time they're on their phone, I'm trying to get their attention and talk to them. I can imagine that brings, a whole host of new challenges, maybe even a new venue for, some nefarious activity.
I have a jury trial going right now today as we speak, where the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, among other techniques, gave the children phones so that he could have access to the phones. And so being on the forefront of education and being up to date, if you will, on all of the trends in terms of perpetration against children, victimizing children, or children engaging in activities they shouldn't engage in, as a judge, I'm completely dependent on the council. My day is spent with great privilege in court. My extra time is spent doing judicial outreach like this, and I don't have the time to do the research that the council can do and then give to me as a judge. It's a critical component of success in every community. It's funny because it's centered right here in Nevada, and it has a reach across the country and really genuinely improves the lives of children everywhere through the judges, at least those children that touch the judicial system.
Well, I think it is a beautiful thing, and one of the things that we are very fortunate to have here, all the judges from all over the country. I remember watching 60 Minutes probably, 20, 25 years ago, talking about the Judicial College, and, it is something we are blessed to have here in Reno, Nevada. I know my truckers will show up and do little conferences with the judges.
A shout out to the Nevada Trucking Association. The Nevada Trucking Association has been such a good partner with the National Council, with the Judicial College. There's a commercial sexual exploitation of children working group in the state of Nevada. The Nevada Trucking Association has been involved in.
Kim Yeager, I'll give her a shout out. She's working downstairs
and
right
I
now.
can't thank the association enough, because particularly where human trafficking is concerned, until we affect demand, we're not going to affect supply, because supply always follows demand. And until truckers and people throughout the community decide it's not okay to buy sex from children,
or to even know that, the goofy thing to me is, a lot of the guys, you go through a truck stop and they'd have a sticker on the cab of the truck, no lot lizards, a big band sign. A lot lizard was, a derogatory term for a prostitute working a truck stop. So you know, it was just, hey, these people are at their own volition. To me, the big awareness working with Truckers Against Human Trafficking and really coming to understand this issue, a lot of these people are being forced into it. They are not there at their own volition. So educating our folks that this is going on, and you can be part of that solution of helping these people get out of these absolutely awful situations, you know, is where we've put our focus. Joey, you guys are having a conference right here in the Silver State.
We are. As a native Nevadan, I'm very proud to say that we are bringing back our National Juvenile Justice Conference to Las Vegas at the Lake Las Vegas Westin, March 17th through 20th of 2019. And we hope to have hundreds of judges, probation officers, teachers, counselors, and others in Las Vegas to attend that conference to understand the whole breadth and scope of what juvenile justice has and what we're facing nationally and locally. It's also another venue that we'll be able to share some of the work that reform efforts that are being done in Nevada through the Juvenile Justice Oversight Commission as well. So we're very excited about that opportunity.
Well, hey, Judge, Joey, thank you guys very much. You know, I appreciate this. Became a lot more informed on this issue. And website where people, judges, can go to learn more?
www.ncjfcj.org, and they can also sign up for membership through that same website.
All right. Well, hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're going to be right back on Nevada Newsmakers.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, the place for business, politics, and all the news that is being made in Nevada. Sam's going to be back next week. Thank you for watching and listening.